Hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. You see here I have a quilt top on my machine, and I told y'all, or someone asked if I would give a review of these clamps. Well, this is a table runner / wall hanger, so it's not as big as a quilt. So instead of putting the whole clamp on the quilt like this, I'm holding my fabrics where they don't roll. This piece that I am working on right now is the boo quilt. Now I am pulling that right there, and actually I'm probably just going to pull it off so I can get everything. I'm just taking them off because I need enough room where I can move my fabrics here. And you will notice I have my sewing machine all the way to the far right edge of my table, and that is so I have additional room. And what I am doing this in Dove. So now that I've got my needle in there, what I'm going to do is pull this up and put it in my lap. It's going to be difficult to do. Yeah, I'm taking the clips off because they getting in my way. I do have my top pinned really well. I am quilting. I'm not using a special foot. I've got to figure out how to do this here. It's too heavy for me just to let it hang. But I have my diagonal lines marked. I'm making sure it is staying flat. Now, of course, my diagonals are not going from corner to corner of the squares on here, just because, I don't know, for some reason, I apparently cannot get my squares to line up perfectly. But what I did is I picked a square on one side and a square on the other side and just started drawing my diagonals. So it's like I'm going to have a crosshatch quilts on this. I had thought about doing a real cutesy pumpkins or something on the sashing on the edges, and I have decided against that because right now I'm just wanting to get my unfinished projects finished. So I'm just doing something that I think would be quick and get the job done and still look cute. And I'm trying to do this from the very center. So what I did, I started at a corner and I'm just going straight by that corner. Now what I will do is, once I get this done, I will cut my thread and I will start back up at the top once again. Wait for that to raise up. Get that thread out of the way here. So what I'm going to do is pull this back, and I'm going to the right because I'm going to start unrolling on this side and not on the left side. So we're making sure everything is flat and smooth. We did that before pinning, but we just want to make sure once again everything is flat and smooth, and we don't want any weight holding this down, so we have to make sure to keep the weight off of it. But flat and smooth, always flat and smooth. Now, yeah, I'm sure those jumbo clips would work amazing for a bigger quilt, but being that I'm on a diagonal, it really makes it difficult because you got points on it. And I don't want to. You have a piece that's extremely longer than the other part. So maybe this wasn't the best project to start that on, or to try those clamps on. I will try them on a quilt though, because I have several quilts to complete. So this here is going to be a finishing Friday. Hopefully I will be able to get the binding done as well. And of course, you know, I am having a no sleep night apparently, because once again, my medications just really do not like me right now. I'm guessing it feels like this should be pushing a lot more, but it's not. I do have gloves here on my desk, on my table, if I need them. But when I have the gloves on, I can't really feel the fabric underneath. So I try to keep it where I can feel everything with my hands. And if you're not new here, you know, I don't normally quilt any of my quilts. I normally carry them to long arms. But this one here, I thought it's a small project. It's something I can do on my sewing machine myself. And I'm hoping I'm not regretting that. My husband and I were talking about a long arm today, and I just have to keep telling him I don't have room for one. We would literally have to get rid of our guest bedroom, because this room here was a bedroom. I have an office and he has an office that takes care of 2 of our bedrooms, and then we have our bedroom and then the guest bedroom. We have 4 bedrooms. If I got a long arm, I would definitely have to get rid of the guest bedroom. And I don't want to do that, because that's my grandbaby's bedroom too. I mean, one day they may come and stay the night with me. I don't know. But right now, well, I'm supposed to have, what is this weekend? The last weekend of the month, I'm supposed to have my granddaughter. She's supposed to come and stay with me, which is exciting. We're probably going to lay in bed and watch Strawberry Shortcake. Or if I can find the Brave Little Toaster, we may watch that. My kids always love the Brave Little Toaster. And I just can't wait to do things with my grandbabies that I did with my kids when they were little. We'd all pile up on the couch or in the bed. And, you know, at that time, everything was on VCR. We'd pop in Brave Little Toaster or The Mermaid or Lion King. You know, we'd pop movies in, and we would just lay in the bed when my kids were little, and we would watch movies. You know, just fun, sweet little memories. And to think my oldest one will be 28 next month. It just does not seem possible. Now, yeah, I think I mentioned I am quilting this in Dove. It is a gray color. It kind of blends into everything, because I don't necessarily need the thread showing. More so just the design to show, the crosshatch. Making sure it's all still smooth here. Because what I'll do is I'll go all the way to the right, and then I'll flip, and then I'll go to the other direction, because I'll flip it. So it'll always be going, I'll always be pulling from the right. I wonder if I roll this up, if it'll help me guide a little bit. It does actually help some if I bring this all up here, and it's... But I have several quilts that I want to carry to the long arm, but I keep going, they're small. I should really do them myself and save that money, because I know my daughter doesn't watch my YouTube, so I can say this. But for my daughter's birthday, my plan is to take like her and the whole family, all my kids, my grandkids, maybe my parents, and my aunt, which is her great aunt, you know, take us all out to eat and on me. So that means I need to be conserving my money a little bit. So I'm just thinking I need to save my money and do it myself. But my daughter, she will be 28. This is the one that when she graduated high school, she was already a sophomore in college because she took collegiate courses in high school. She's my very driven child. Being in college, she had got her first bachelor degree in toxicology, like within 3 years. In 4 years, she had her second bachelor's degree in pharmacology or pre-pharmacy. I can't remember what they call it. And then a couple years after that, she had her PharmD. And yes, I am a very proud mother. She worked very hard. She achieved something that a lot of people, you know, well, a lot of people do, but she worked very hard. She did work very hard. And I'm very proud of her achieving her goal that she set out to do. And at the college that she, or university that she went to, they had a program called the PEP program. It's called Provisional Entry Program. That means you're accepted into pharmacy school before you even take a class. And only 50 students get chosen for it. She was one of the 50 when she started, and she was one of the 50 chosen for the PEP program. What that means is you don't have to go through the admission process into pharmacy school. So she could have skipped admission, but she wouldn't have had a degree because her degree then would have had to have been pre-pharmacy. And she said, you know, if something happened, she wanted to have something to fall back on. So she did toxicology. She changed her major from pre-pharm to toxicology, which then in turn took her out of the PEP program because you had to be a pre-pharm major. And which I think is a great idea that she was thinking about that, because you never know what can happen. You know, there could be a tragic life event that affects going to college, you know, and I think it was a great thing that she did, because now she has 2 bachelors and a PharmD, which is the same thing as a doctorate. Now, I mean, there probably is something different. She has a PharmD and not an MD, but she's got a doctorate of pharmacy. Is what she has. So she's a pharmacist. I don't get to see her very much because the pharmacy she is working at, they're a little short-handed right now by my understanding, because one of their pharmacists just had a baby. So that means that she picks up a lot of hours, because she only works 2 days a week with the pharmacy. And then she's able to, I guess she calls herself like a floater, that she can pick up shifts at any other pharmacy under this company. She can pick any of them up. And I don't know how they do it. They have some type of website or something. I don't know what it is. All I know is she works a lot. But I'm very proud of her for, you know, setting her goals and sticking to them and getting it done. Because when so many things could have gone bad, they went good. Because I remember when I was in college when I got pregnant with her, and school was so hard. it was just so hard. I mean, after you have a baby, you have babysitters, and I actually had to take her to class with me a couple times, and my professors were like, we'd rather see you here with the baby than not here and not getting what you need to get. And it was, you know, I had night classes because I worked during the day, and I had one professor, he's like, whenever it's time for her to eat, and I would let him know before class, I'm like, look, she's probably going to need to eat around this time. We'd have break at that time so I could feed her. And I remember one class, I sat at the back door, and I set her right outside the back door so she wasn't distracted by anything. And it was a night class, so the hallways were dimly lit and all that. And at that time, we didn't have to worry about anything, but I could see her, I could put my hand on her immediately, so nothing could have happened to her. And she was such a good child. Maybe that's why she was so good in college, because she started college as soon as before she got here, she was in college. I was in my master's program, and I had, in your master's program, you don't have but classes. My classes were only 2 days a week. And I went to one class, and I missed one class, and then I was back the next class when I had her. And I came in, and my professor was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, you're not pregnant. And I'm like, no, I had the baby. And he's like, why are you here? You know, I guess she shows as much determination as I did when I was in college at that time, because I was determined. I was making my classes. But it's so funny to think about that. I guess I think about it now because 28 years ago, that was my situation, you know, and I'm just looking at her situation. Wow. And I was 24 when I had her. And she's 28. And she's dating a really nice man now. A young man. I've only met him a couple times, but he seems to be really sweet and sincere, you know, and he has a level head on him. That's why he and I are kind of, I've only met him 2 or 3 times, but he and I are kind of, we're working together. I'm trying to get her a surprise birthday dinner, because I have always taken her out to dinner on her birthday. I'm always, you know, after it got past the birthday party stage, I've always carried my kids out for birthday dinner. So that's what I'm going to do for her birthday. We don't know how big it's going to be able to be. It may just be my children and their significant others and myself and my husband if he's in. That may be all it is. Which I know my parents would go. I know my parents would go if I did something like that. But we're not real sure exactly what it's going to be. And, I feel like I got a wrinkle. I got a ripple. Got to check it. What's going on? Oh, it's just where the fabric had I thought I pressed all of those out. But apparently I missed one. I will have to press this anyway after I'm done, because I drew my straight lines on. Y'all, I just took a yardstick and drew my lines on. But we're just trying to make sure everything is flat and straight. And it's about time I got this done, because it's been sitting over here for a year, if not longer. And I know my thing keeps unrolling, so I need to roll this back up and get this back up on top of my machine, because that does help me. If all my weight is up here on my machine, and I know you can't see what I'm doing when I do this, but if all my weight is up here, you can't see what I'm doing anyway because of this light. I've got to figure that out. I know I've seen people that have had Berninas and they cut the light out and use a different light. I only have one light right at the moment. And it's not really been a high priority for me to get another light, which we have looked into it to try to better the setup here so y'all could see everything. You know, that's just been an expense that hasn't been high on the radar. I do want to get another setup for lights and cameras so y'all can see everything that I'm doing. You know, have a camera turned down where you can see what I'm doing. And it all comes down to my editing software. I am not a computer savvy person. I know how to use a computer. It's not that I don't know how to use a computer. I do, but I'm not tech savvy. I like using the YouTube Studio that is, I guess, still in beta on the Android. And if I had another setup, it would either be my tablet or my camera. I have both of them that could sit right here, and I have a tripod for both of them. Well, I don't have a tripod for my tablet, but I have a single stand. It is a tablet stand that I could use, but I just don't know how to go about doing that, and I need to really play with it and practice on it before I do that. Because, my goodness, we don't want to have a big old hunking mess in a video or on a live or anything like that. And I say live because if y'all have been following, and if you haven't and you're new, starting in November, the actual first... Okay, why is that not cutting? The actual first live that Tammy with the Siberian Wind, she and I will start a live in November doing the quilt from Celebrate with Quilts. It's called Land That I Love. We will be doing a live every Thursday night starting November 7th. November 7th is my daughter's birthday. But we're going to try to go eat on the weekend and not on her birthday because that is during the week. And I don't think her boyfriend, he told me Saturday's work schedule. And I think that's probably because he's able to go on that date. That's a better day for him, which is fine. You know, we can go on a Saturday. We will be doing it every Thursday. I know in the month of November, we're going to, I think the first video, we're going to be doing the blue section of the flag. You know, that's kind of like where your stars are at. We're going to be doing that section first. So I've really got to get some fabrics cut out to get me ready for that. I've got all of my fabrics picked out, but I haven't gotten anything cut whatsoever. But it will be, I think she told me 7 p.m. Central Time, which is 6 her time. And I am looking forward to this, y'all. I'm so excited about it. I've wanted to do this quilt ever since I got that book, because it is a beautiful quilt. I mean, and if I love patriotic quilts, I think they're beautiful. They mean so much to me because, you know, my son was in the military, and my uncle was in the military. My brother was in the military. I have cousins that were in the military, cousins that had spouses in the military. You know, there's a lot of military in my family, so it means something to me. And I guess it really didn't mean as much until my son was in the military that it just really struck home that, you know, that patriotism drive in me. Now, I think Tammy may be doing her quilt as a Quilts of Valor. I have not decided yet what I'm doing with my quilt. I do have a red, white, and blue quilt. I do have, you know, one. So it's not one that, you know, I don't have one and I want to keep it. It's not that. But I need to get in touch with a friend of mine out of Mississippi that heads up a program that helps the troops. And I'll tell you his name, and I'm probably going to reach out to him. I do want to do a quilt for him. I don't know if it's going to be this quilt. But what he does, he holds an auction. It's called 7 Days for the Troops. His name is Scott Burns. I went to school with him in elementary school. And he was military, and he is a double amputee caused by injury sustained in active duty. And oh, okay, so it's time for me to roll and turn the other way. So what I want to do is do a quilt for him to auction off whatever they do to raise funds for military families. They help with housing and things like that, you know, of injured vets. Okay, so now I'm going to start going the other direction. Let's make sure we've got our roll here good. But I think that would better serve my purpose instead, because a Quilt of Valor, of course, I don't know who it's going to, and that doesn't matter, because I wouldn't know who this goes to, you know, if they win it in an auction or something. But I would like to do something to help him, because he does do a lot. And if this helps, you know, spread his cause, and if I remember, I will put the link for his organization, because I think he founded this organization and he does everything with it. It's an amazing organization. I see all the time where he's doing the 7 days for the troops, where he actually stays in the top of a tower for 7 days. They build a tower and he stays in it for 7 days. And that's why it's called 7 Days for the Troops. And he started out, I think, in Tupelo, Mississippi. But I really want to do something that can help him out. And we ran into each other one time in our adult life, because when I was young, I moved from the school that we both went to, and after that his parents moved to probably to Mississippi. I'm not exactly sure, but we were really good friends growing up. You know, while we were in school together, we were good classmates and friends. So that's what I'm thinking about doing with my quilts. I'm not exactly sure, but it is on the forefront of my mind of what I want to do with this quilt. Now, I may make this quilt and I may just be like, this isn't the quilt to do, you know, to give away. And if that's the case, then I will make another one, because I do want to make a quilt for him. Now, will I make another one of this quilt? No. The Land That I Love? No. Because whoops, I've got so much pressure on my table here. My tray is coming off. The reason I won't is because it takes so much fabric for this quilt. And there are so many different pieces of fabric for this quilt. It's like you're taking 16 fat quarters, I think, of red and 16 fat quarters of other colors. But some of them, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going the same color for 2 different ones, you know, because that's just way too much fabric. And it's hard to find that much fabric at one time, which I could probably have scrapped some of it, pulled stuff out of my scrap pile, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed. And I'm waiting on my AccuQuilt dye to come in so I can hopefully use the dye to start cutting some of my pieces, because that will be a time saver for sure. And yeah, this part seems to be going by fairly quickly. It looks like we've only been doing this about 40 minutes, which I still have to turn it and cross hatch it the other way. So that will probably take another 40 minutes itself, but I won't keep you on that long. But I will show you the finished product once I get it done, and I may even bring y'all on here while I'm binding as well, so you can see how I bind. And I'm just going to do it, you know, a basic bind. I'm hoping to be able to use some of my backing. I'm hoping I have enough left to be able to use. I thought I had backing with this quilt. I thought I did. I probably did, but I haven't found any. I haven't found it. So I'm guessing it was probably my back. I don't know. I thought I had some cut for it, but this was strictly made out of, I think, jelly rolls, out of a jelly roll. So that couldn't have been it. The white fabric is just what I had here, I think. I don't know. It could have come in the kit. And did y'all see the, well, no, you probably haven't seen it yet. You will see it shortly, though, possibly. I got the cutest little kit for Halloween. I wasn't really crazy over the spooky box, just because that's not really the kind of... I was expecting more fall. Now, I knew it's a spooky box. It's a Halloween box. I understand that. But I guess I was expecting more, I don't know, oranges and, you know, like this, like the Boo. More of a child's play kind of Halloween. Now, don't get me wrong. It is beautiful fabric in there. It's a very cute pattern, but it's not really something that I would use because it has skulls in it, and I have grandbabies, y'all. I don't want to have something that would scare them to death. You know, I don't want something that would scare my grandbabies. So I wouldn't put something like that, you know, out for my grandbabies. And right now, that's all I think about is what could my grandbabies use? You know, what's grandbaby friendly? Okay, guys, I have finished the cross, or the 1/2 cross hatch. I finished one direction. Now I need to go the other direction. So what that means is I get to roll from this direction now. And I think what I'm going to do is probably start right here, because I believe this is pretty close to that corner. And what I'll have to do is fold this in and just kind of roll it up. We're just going to put this down, get that needle in there, get a few stitches in there, so what I can do is actually get this more together. And I do have to put pressure on my table. That's why it's not happy when I do that. And y'all see how fast I did that, and it still didn't go very far. I have this edge over here catching, so That doesn't make it easy. Well, I wasn't quite the center, but I was pretty close. I was one too far to the right of the center, but that's okay. So what we'll do is we'll just keep working our way to the right. And guys, I'll bring you back as soon as I finish quilting the top, so you can see what the top looks like quilted. And I'll probably go on and press out my marked lines so you don't have to see that, so you can see better what it looks like completed. But guys, you know, I was talking about, I'm going to bring y'all back real quick here. I was talking about not carrying my stuff to the long arm, but I tell you what, I miss my ladies over there at Stitched in Faith Quilt Shop in Mangum, Louisiana, y'all. I'm telling you, I miss them ladies. I loved going and visiting every Friday with them. I may just have to make a quick run over there one Friday just to see them, and of course to see what new fabrics they have Christmas-wise. I can always buy more Christmas fabric. I love Christmas, but then I'm not saving money. You know, I have a budget I allow myself to have every month, you know, for either long garment or fabric or whatever, you know. I allow myself a certain amount. And if I don't spend it one month, I try to let it build up. Which this month, you know, I'm buying quilt boxes. You know, getting my quilts. I'm trying to get everything for particular quilts so I can make them. And I have so many quilts right now to be made that I'm trying not to add any more projects. And y'all, if I go in that store, if I go into Stitched in Faith, I'm going to find something to buy. It's like it finds me. I don't even have to find it. And I think right now I have 2 quilts with fabric that I bought from there. One is a fall quilt for sure that I need to kind of get ready to do. And I think I'm probably going to cut some of that fabric this weekend because it is a fall quilt. And I can do it as a sew-along. Now, the pattern that I will be using is not a free pattern, but I did find a free pattern almost exactly like the pattern I will be doing. So if you wanted to sew along with me, that will probably, if I do it, it'll probably be Tuesday of next week. We just have to see where my sew-alongs are right now. I think the only sew-along that I remember having going right now, and I say that I remember have going because I'm not looking at my boxes. They're behind me. And I haven't really sewn in a week, almost a week anyway. I did sew yesterday, but I know it had been at least 3 or 4 days. So that to me might as well be a week, because if I haven't put my hands on sewing stuff in 3 or 4 days, then I can't remember exactly what I have going on. And what I did sew was a block of the month with Fat Quarter Shop. So I really wasn't looking at my project boxes of things that I had going on. But I think the only sew-along I have going right now is the Jelly Roll Irish Chain quilt, which I'm almost done with that one. And I'm going to try to get better about my sew-alongs to do a completion. Not just a quilt top completion, but like the whole quilt. Backing, binding, the whole 9. I want to get better about that. I want to be able to have a totally complete quilt. Now, am I going to bring you along for all of it? Probably not, because most people don't want to see that. This right here is probably pretty boring for most people, just to sit here and watch me back a quilt. it's probably boring. Unless you like the topics I talk about. And I just chit-chat. I can talk about anything. There's 2 things well, I'm not going to say I won't ever talk about them on my channel. But politics and religion. I'm thinking here, I don't know how far I am from getting this completed. But I'll bring you guys right back unless I think of something else I want to talk about. Whoops. I just broke a needle, so I'll bring y'all right back. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining me this evening to see my boo quilt come together. I have completed it now. I have backed it and quilted it and bound it. I did machine binding on this, and even if I say so myself, y'all, the binding came out really, really well. I'm not normally a good binder. I can't get my corners to miter real well. And, yeah, I'm trying to make sure my hair's not standing out because I thought I was going to pull my hair out here for a little bit. But, guys, this is the Better Late Than Never Again project. My boo quilt. This is from the 2023 Spooky Box. I will be putting a sleeve on the back of this and make it a wall hanger for my living room. It's not going to be as long as, or as wide as my TV is, but it will go over my TV. So hopefully I can get a sleeve on it. I'm not going to say tomorrow because it is tomorrow already. Yes, I'm sewing past my bedtime. My meds have me up all night. So, guys, if you have not yet, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Goodbye.